Having an EV home charger can save you money, especially when using cheap charging tariffs. But if you live in SFA, it can be a challenge to get one installed. Here's how I did it. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Savvy Squaddie. In this video, I'm going to show you the process you must go through to get an EV home charger installed on your SFA. Make sure to stick around to the end as I'll run through some numbers as well. When I did this a few months back, there was very little guidance available, and I wish I had this video to show me the process. So first up, yes, you can have an electric vehicle charging point, or EVCP, on your SFA. It used to be the case where DIO would fund and install one, but they paused that initiative to divert funding to tackle damp and mould in homes. At the time of this recording, the scheme is still on pause with no restart date. So in the meantime, they allow service personnel to fund it themselves, and it's this process that I will explain in this video. Now, you might want an EVCP installed onto your SFA, but it first must meet some criteria. As a general rule, you will not be granted permission if the charging cable crosses a public footpath or an open grass area which DIO and its contractors maintain. For obvious reasons, it's a tripping hazard, and the DIO folk cutting the grass might slice the cable. If you have passed that hurdle and are good to go, you next need to do a bit of research. Not every Tom, Dick or Harry can install the charger for you. It must be a certified EVCP installer who has been approved by the Office for Zero Emission Vehicles, or OZEV. I will link below the Gov website you can use to find your local approved installer. Simply pop in your postcode and they will all appear. As a side note, I encountered an issue with this as the directory only allows you to search via postcode and not the name of the installer. I used Octopus Energy to purchase and install my home charger, but trying to find the right postcode, which their installers were registered under, was nails. I'll show you the postcode I used when I cover the encroachment form in a bit. When it comes to funding, it's all completely self-funded. DIO does not contribute anything other than a thumbs up or down. However, there is a grant available, which at the time of recording is due to expire on the 31st of March 2026. It's called the Electric Vehicle Charge Point Grant for renters and flat owners. If you live in SFA, then you are a renter and are eligible for this grant. You must also have your own private off-road parking spot, and if that spot is not attached to the property, you must show that you have legal entitlement to that space. The grant can get you up to 75% off the cost to buy and install an EVCP, up to a maximum of £350. Applying is usually done by your installer, and if approved, they subtract the amount from the total bill. Evidence of landlord permission will be required, and you'll be sent a form to complete by OZEV. From my experience, the whole process of claiming the grant was very straightforward, and Octopus handled it all. I literally just had to complete the form from OZEV, which was emailed to me, and send over landlord approval, which I was sent by Pinnacle when they approved my application. Important to note, the grant can only be claimed once, so when you move again, you can't claim it again, even if you are still renting. So, what is the application process? Well, once you've decided on your provider, you must complete an encroachment form, which can be found on the Pinnacle Service Family's website, but I will also link it below. On this form, you will need to include all your details in the relevant boxes: who is installing the EVCP, what type of EVCP it is, and the address of the installer. Here is the one I submitted for my property using Octopus Energy. You can see the correct postcode here. Once completed, sign it and email it to homeservices@pinnacleservicefamilies.co.uk. In terms of timings, it took a month from sending this to them until I received the letter of approval needed as landlord permission. However, this is due to the issue I had trying to find the installer's postcode and not initially including it on the encroachment form. So there was a bit of back and forth. If you submit the encroachment form with all the relevant details of the approved installer, then it shouldn't take a month for it to be signed off. So, now that I had approval, I reached out to Octopus Energy and purchased the charger along with the home installation. During that purchase process, I answered a few questions to see if I was eligible for the renter's grant, which I was, and they subtracted the amount from the total price. I then received an email from Octopus asking for evidence of landlord permission, and an email from OZEV to complete my application for the grant. Once both of these things were done, I was passed on to the installation team to book a slot. It's worth noting that the appointment, at least with Octopus, can take up to 4 hours, and an adult needs to be present at the property during installation. The power will also be switched on and off as they install it. A few days before my installation, I had to send over some photos of my electricity meter, where I wanted the charger to be installed, and where the car would be parked. This was to make sure the installer came with all the right bits. Installation day came and I personally had no issues. He got it all sorted and then sat with me to set up the app and make sure it was all linked and worked. He also explained the Octopus Energy tariffs that are ideal for electric vehicle drivers, and that saved me a lot of money. I use the Intelligent Octopus Go tariff. This means that between the hours of 23:30 and 05:30, I pay 7p per kilowatt used, and this applies to the whole house. So in the evening, while we are all asleep, the car can charge and we can run the washing machine, dishwasher, etc. at a cheaper rate than during the day. For context, the rate during the day is 28.79p per kilowatt, 4 times more expensive. With the Intelligent tariff, I can plug my car in at any point during the day and it will only charge during the cheap timings. Also with this tariff, if they have an excess of energy during the day, it will charge the car at the cheaper rate, and the house will also be on that 7p per kilowatt rate for however long the excess energy is being used. I'm not sponsored by Octopus, but I do have a referral link in the description of all my videos. If you are looking to switch provider, then sign up using my link and we both get £50 credited to our account once you make your first payment. Personally, they are the best provider I have used, and we've been with them long before we even got an electric car. So what happens when you move out of your SFA? You have two options. The easiest will be to leave it in place, and you are allowed to do so. You will not be penalised. But you've spent a few £100 on that, you might want to take it with you when you move, and you can do that too, but there are some things to consider if going that route. First, you must get a National Inspection Council for Electrical Installation Contracting approved and certified electrician to remove it safely. And keep in mind, you will be liable for any damage caused by the installation, use or removal of the EVCP. As of yet, I am unsure what I will do when I come to move out. A friend of mine recently got his uninstalled and it cost £150. Perhaps taking the hardware off the wall, encasing the exposed wire, and leaving the internal setup to the electricity meter installed is an option, but I'm not sure. Have any of you had yours uninstalled and maybe reinstalled at a new SFA? What did you do? Did it cost much more? Let us know in the comments below. So that's the whole process. Personally, I found it fairly painless. The only issue I had was trying to find the postcode initially, but that is just my own view. If you've had one installed, what was your experience like? But I did say I would run through some numbers, so let's do that. The charger and installation cost me £700, and that was with the renter's grant. It could have been cheaper, but I opted for a charger with a built-in cable which costs more. Because of the Intelligent Octopus Go tariff I am on, charging is 7p per kilowatt, which works out to be about 1.7p per mile for my Tesla Model Y, and that's around £4 for it to be fully charged. That is insanely cheap. For comparison, my wife drives our second car, a Ford Mondeo, and filling that up is a different story. A full tank for the Mondeo is around £85. Granted, the Mondeo does get nearly 700 miles on a full tank, whilst my Tesla gets 250, but it would cost me around £12 to do 700 miles in the Model Y, and that's 7 times cheaper than the Mondeo, and we're likely to upgrade the Mondeo in the next year or so. And there you have it, how to get an electric vehicle charging point installed on your SFA. Are you looking to get one installed? What will you do when you move? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there, and if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.